All right, a very good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Toastmasters International is a non-profit organization initiated by the leader Ralph C. Smedley with a sole motive to improve communication and leadership skills among the members across the globe. Toastmasters International has 15,900 clubs, more than 345,000 members in 142 countries. Wordsmiths Toastmasters Club is one among them. Toastmasters International works on four pillars of values: respect, integrity, service, and excellence. The mission of the club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self confidence and personal growth. Before starting the meeting, here are some codes of conduct. Kindly check if your mobile is in switch off or silent mode. Speakers who are coming forth, kindly refrain from speaking on sex, religion, and politics. Please note, when a speaker is talking, please refrain from saying anything in between as it might distract the speaker. Members are requested to come in professional attire. All right, it's time to start the meeting. For the benefit of guests, all Toastmasters meetings shall be started and ended by one person called the presiding officer. Today's presiding officer is a BCom student, claims to be an amateur blogger, but I think she's great at it. A bibliophile, of course, as we learned in her Why Do We Like Thrillers speech, and has Netflix for a best friend with no regrets, she says. Please put your hands together in welcoming today's presiding officer, Toastmaster Samyukta.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shreya, for the very generous introduction. Yeah, I'll just pay you later. It's fine. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Another Saturday evening spent at the Chennai Wordsmiths Club, and I hope you're all excited for today's meeting. First off, I was told that I have to do a thought for the day, like just something to set the tone for the meeting and stuff. So a little something happened. It was actually yesterday, and since my dad had come back home, and he comes to visit us only on the weekends, so he had come home, and as usual, I was reading the paper in the morning, and there was this one sentence that made complete sense when I read it for the first time. But as the article went forward, I kept going back to this sentence for some reason. And the more I read it, the lesser sense it made. I don't know if this has happened to any of you, but it happens a lot to me, because when you look at some things on the face of it, it's very easy to understand. But the more you read between the lines, the more you think on it, you realize that it might not be what you thought, and you had to change the way you look at the whole thing altogether. At the end of the paper reading, I couldn't figure out what the sentence meant. So I just ended up asking my dad, and he told me the meaning of that sentence, which is exactly what I thought it was in the beginning. And when I told him that I couldn't understand it, all he said was, just stop overthinking. Sometimes you've just got to believe that things are as simple as they are. And yeah, that is what I would like to tell you all this evening, is to quite simply just be relaxed and not overthink anything to the point of misunderstanding things, and to quite simply just leave things just as they are on the face of it. With that note, I would like to declare the meeting number 610 open. Right. I see we have some guests today with us. If we could just do a round of introductions, tell us your name, what is it that you do, and how you found out about the club. Can I hear it from Sunita?
Yeah, good evening, girl. Thank you, Samyukta. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, actually, I work in SBI. I'm working since 10 years in SBI. At present, I'm in back office. I'm working in LH4, local head office, as a manager L&D, learning and development. So I just like to improve my communication skills. I mean the presentation skills. So I'm searching for some good institutions, like coaching institutions, And then I came across about the Toastmasters, and mostly I know about the Toastmasters in Google search only. Then after that, I got some reference and I spoke with Abhishek, I think the president of this club. Then he received me so well and he has given the information, and he immediately accepted my request, and then he sent me the link to join as a guest this week meeting. And thank you Samyukta also. She also immediately responded, and she has given me some confidence to join. She's so friendly. In I got that in my WhatsApp chat itself. So I'm very excited to be part of the guest in today's meeting. And thank you all.
Thank you so much, Sunita. It was great to hear from you.
Thank you.
Can I hear it from Vijay?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening. Vijay Nair is my name. I'm a study abroad consultant. I run a company called Education Matters. Interestingly, I know Toastmasters for about 25 years now. I think my father wanted me to join Toastmasters soon as I entered Loyola College. It's taken me 25 years to take the first step. So glad to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vijay. Better late than never.
Yeah, apologies, I'm not able to have my camera on, but I hope I was audible enough.
Yes, you were audible. No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I hear it from Neeta?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Neeta. I am a public health and community health researcher working in Chennai, obviously. I got connected with Abhishek and Samyukta last week because I wanted to work on my presentation skills and communication skills. So here I am, hoping to get the ball rolling. Yeah, thank you. And
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us this evening. Can I hear it from Lukman Nazir Basha? No? Okay. Can I hear it from Suresh Kumar Singh?
Actually, I was a member of Wordsmiths, but due to some other priority, I take a meeting. Thanks.
Great to have you with us, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening. Can I hear it from Ravi? Okay, then. Thank you so much to all the guests who introduced yourself to the club. For the guests who would like to participate in the table topic session, please put your names in the chat box so that the table topics master can make a note of it and give you guys a shot at participating. TT master, please take note of the names in the chat box as well. Thank you. Now that we have done all the formalities, I have the opportunity of handing the baton for today's meeting to a very multifaceted personality by his own admission, and no one would disagree as well, because as far as I've known him, he's got a varied number of interests. He happens to be a luxury brand aficionado, a watch collector, a golfer, a Rotarian, and also takes a business class at IIM Kolkata. Please put your hands together for the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Anand.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I am extremely proud and privileged to be the Toastmaster for today. In fact, this is my first occasion, and hopefully it shouldn't be my last. Thank you very much for a good introduction, Toastmaster Samyukta, as always, bubbly and cheerful as ever. Now, the theme for today is leadership during pandemic times. Now, leadership for me is very, very important. That's always been a subject that I've liked, I've learned, And hopefully I will continue to learn, because that's something that I do and that I need to do to survive. Now, on the 3rd of February, I had the opportunity of listening to a phenomenal leader. If I would say phenomenal, I think I would be understating it. His name is Niren Chowdhury. Niren Chowdhury is currently the CEO of Panera Bread. Earlier, he was the worldwide president of Kentucky Fried Chicken. And he also had a movie recently made on his family called The Sky is Pink. I don't know how many of you all have seen that movie, but that movie had so much to teach everybody who saw it, because it talks about personal laws, professional issues, and how with I would use the right word, with an indomitable spirit, both he and his family overcame setbacks to fight back, setbacks again, fought back. And I think that's a movie that all of us need to watch if you haven't seen it so far. In fact, let me also tell you, I've sent the link of that talk that I had that I was privileged to be part of. It is part of our Rotary. I think if all of you, I would strongly suggest that you'll see it when you have the time, because it talks about not just leadership professionally, it also talks about a lot more than just leadership. It talks about how you can get better in every aspect of your life, and lots of that, what I saw and what I heard and what I also imbibed, I think I'm trying to use in my day-to-day living. Now, coming back to leadership during pandemic times, I will talk specifically about Panera Bread, because that's what I last heard. With Panera Bread is basically a lot like Subway. They are a restaurant business. 90% of their income comes from people walking to restaurants to eat, and they basically serve sandwiches, burgers, very easy food. And Niren took over as the CEO of Panera Bread in 2019. 9 months into it, it's a $7 billion company. 9 months into it, the pandemic hit. And as you all know, restaurants, hotels, and travel have been most badly hit. And they kind of lost close to 60% of their business within 1 month of the pandemic hitting. And what all they had to do to survive, to stay afloat, and to come back is what the whole session was all about. And let me, because I don't want to go too much into detail, I'll make it very, very brief. Lots of my learning there was to survive and to succeed in today's world. You'll have to learn. There are 4 or 5 points that I took. One is you have to be agile. You have to learn to be quick, take quick decisions. That's one. You've got to keep learning, unlearning, and learning, because what you learned yesterday is not going to be relevant today, and what you're doing today is not going to be relevant tomorrow. And that, if you ask me, is one of the big reasons behind me doing a course in IIM Calcutta at 50 years of age. And this is, I think, my 4th or 5th degree, because I think I personally constantly need to learn to survive, 1, succeed, 2. Then there are going to be setbacks, and luckily I think I've got a reasonably, I would say, an indomitable spirit, if I'm using the word of the day, to help me bounce back. So I think being agile, constantly learning, being fearless. Let me also tell you, that is something, though it's easier said than done, for us to survive in today's post-pandemic world. We'll have to take calculated risks. We'll have to be prepared to fail, because if you're not going to be prepared to fail, you are not going to succeed. And then you'll also have to learn to innovate. What worked yesterday is not going to work today. If I talk about the Panera story, 90% of their business was coming from the restaurants. Today, 60% of their business comes from online selling. It's just a matter of pivoting. You've got to be quick decisions, because things are changing all the time. You'll have to innovate. And one more thing that I think all of us need to certainly use is, see, I remember in the 90s when I was working in Airtel, we had the most qualified guys, or the most highly paid guys, were the guys who were good with managing data. They were good at looking at data, analyzing, doing scenario building 5 years, 10 years down the line. But today you have things like artificial intelligence. You have things like data analytics. And if I look at today, the people in the company that I work in, the highest paid guys are all in their, maybe guys and ladies are all in their late 20s, early 30s. And they're all data scientists. Now this position called a data scientist did not even exist 15 years ago. And today, when 20 years ago, they were talking about human intelligence. Now they're talking about artificial intelligence. They're talking about data mining. They're talking about new things. And the thing is, all of us, irrespective of our age, irrespective of what we do, we need to upgrade to survive. So in terms of my learnings, I think being agile, learning, being innovative, using technology, being fearless. And one more thing is like what Niren told us that day was to be a compassionate leader. I think today the days of being this charismatic, very, very big talking leaders are all long gone. I don't know, Arun and Sai, Paul, all of you all might remember Steve Ballmer of Microsoft. He was an iconic CEO, very big, always being very loud, colorful, one very, very charismatic guy. But if you look at the CEO of today, whether it's Sundar Pichai or whether it's even the current Microsoft guy, all of them very low key, understated, but they all lead from the heart. It's not basically your charisma or your this thing. They all talk about being compassionate leaders. And I think these were my major takeaways in terms of what it takes to be a leader in today's pandemic and post-pandemic world. People talk about the economy being volatile, uncertain, complex, all fancy words that are used like VUCA and all that. But I think if we can look at being agile, being fearless, being compassionate, learning all the time, being innovative and working well with technology and upgrading yourself, I think we are all good to go. On that note, I will now get joke master of the day, Toastmaster Paul Bhaskaran. Paul Bhaskaran is a very, very senior Toastmaster, a fantastic singer. A lot of people say he's the SPB of Wordsmiths, and I have not heard him. I'm really looking forward to hearing him soon. And like what he says, humor is right up his sleeve or right up, it's his cup of tea. So over to you, Paul Bhaskaran, for lots of jokes and more.
Thank you so much. Yeah, am I audible? Am I audible?
Very much.
Very good. Okay, Toastmaster of the day introduced leadership during the pandemic times, whereas I'm going to introduce the humor during the pandemic time. Please applaud for that. Good evening once again. I'm happy to be the joke master, provided you laugh at my joke after it is delivered. A collector who got retired said to the male cook, "Hey, now that I am retired and I have to live on pension," you know the pension we are getting. So we have to remove vada, payasam and sweets from our daily food. Just one gravy and one poriyal will do. You know poriyal, the fried item. The cook too agreed. Sticking to boss instructions, he cooked rice, sambar and one poriyal and served his boss. Friends, this went on for 1 month. Usually, after the boss finishes his lunch, the cook eats at the kitchen. One day, the boss peeked in the kitchen and was shocked to see the cook eating along with his food, vada, payasam and sweets. He questioned the cook, "How come you eat all these things?" Reply came, "Sir, you are only retired. I'm in service still." My dears, that was a joke. You can laugh at it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the opportunity.
That was a very, very good joke, Toastmaster Paul Bhaskaran. I'm going to be copying this joke sometime somewhere else. So thank you very much. I think that's food. This is what you call food for thought, not just poriyal for thought. Okay, now we will move to the general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Arun Sridhar. Toastmaster Arun Sridhar is a IT, I don't want to use the word veteran. He's a lot of years of experience with one of the most admired IT companies, a company that I made a lot of money buying and selling their shares on. He doesn't believe of course, Arun Sridhar knows what it's like to work remotely, but for him, remote leadership is something that is new. Learning and adapting to the new normal was my COVID leadership story. Over to you, Toastmaster Arun Sridhar, as a general evaluator of the day.
Thanks, Anand. The role of the general evaluator is to act as a kind of a traffic policeman and to make sure that the meeting goes well, evaluate the meeting from the beginning to the end and provide feedback at the end. And in this I am assisted by an able team of speech evaluators who I'll be introducing later on. But first things first, the supplementary evaluation team, which is the timer, R counter, and grammarian. Let me call on the timer for the day, which is Toastmaster Samyukta. Sorry.
Yeah. Hi again, everyone. As a timer for today, I will be keeping track of the amount of time that the speakers, the prepared speakers, the table topic speakers, and the evaluations take. And if I could just share my screen, just 1 second. I will be sharing the following cards: the green card at the lower time limit, the yellow card at the middle time limit, and the red card at the highest time limit. I will also be making note of any time disqualifications, and I will also be giving my report at the end of the meeting when called upon by the general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Samyukta. The next role player is the R counter, and today we have our brand new Toastmaster, or at least she's new to Wordsmiths, Toastmaster Roshni playing this role. Toastmaster Roshni, over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. As the counter for today, I will be listening to what the speakers say and also mark down or chart any inappropriate words like as well as the space fillers. The words could be like well, but, so, and you know. I will also make note when the speaker repeats a word again and again. And at the end of the meeting, when called upon by the General Evaluator, I will be presenting my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Roshni. The next role player is the word master grammarian. That is today Toastmaster Is Sridhar. And I would request him to introduce his role as well as introduce the word of the day.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Arun, General Evaluator. The definition of the grammarian as per the Cambridge Dictionary is a person who studies grammar and usually writes books about it. Obviously, I'm not going to do that today. My role as a grammarian is to make note of the good and not so good usage of language by the speakers. I will be observing usage of grammar, words, phrases, metaphors, terminologies, etc. This will help us improve our grammar and usage of words. As a grammarian, I will also be introducing the word of the day. The word of the day is, you already heard it from the leader, because as a leader, he was thinking ahead. So he shared the word of the day already in his introductory remarks. The word of the day is indomitable. Let me repeat, indomitable. According to Cambridge Dictionary, meaning of the word indomitable is that cannot be subdued or overcome as person's will or courage. Another meaning is unconquerable. So there are quite a few other meanings, but this is predominantly the meaning which we have. To give you an example of the usage of this word, if we attend Toastmasters meetings regularly, we will become indomitable speakers. Another example is the president will present the country's highest medal of honor to the soldier who showed indomitable bravery. This word is an adjective. It is also used in noun form as indomitability and indomitableness. To give you some examples, her whole attitude breathed indomitability, courage, and strength. He won more through the sheer indomitableness of the human spirit than anything else. It is also used as an adverb, which is indomitably. The speaker's voice was soft, but her eyes were indomitably steady. So I would request you to use the word of the day and theme of the day as much as possible. In my observation in the past meetings, the number of times we are using the word of the day and the theme of the day has come down. So let's try and bring it up back. So I would request you to take a notepad and make a note of the word of the day and the theme of the day and try using it as much as possible. As I mentioned, you can use it in the adjective form, you can use it as a noun, you can use it as an adverb, as I mentioned. Indomitable, indomitability, indomitableness, or indomitably, whichever is comfortable for you, but let's use as much as possible. And when somebody uses the word of the day and the theme of the day, I would request all the other Toastmasters and the guests to appreciate them. If you're on mute, you can show like this, or you can use your reactions button that is available in the Zoom to share your appreciation. I'll be presenting my report towards the end of the meeting when the general evaluator calls me again. As of now, I am handing it over back to the general evaluator, Toastmaster Arun. Over to you, Toastmaster Arun.
Thank you, Sai, for that extensive introduction. Well done. I'm also supported by speech evaluators Paul, Bindu, and Shreya in evaluating the speakers, but they will be introduced by the Toastmaster of the day. And without further ado, I'll hand over to the Toastmaster of the day, Anand, to carry on with the flow of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arun Sridhar. We are now moving over to prepared speeches. Our first speaker for today is Toastmaster Arumugam. I will request evaluator Toastmaster Paul to share the objectives of his speech.
Yeah. All right. Good evening once again to everybody. And my special good evening to my target speaker, who is rather indomitable speaker, I would say. He is attempting his speech from Pathways. The project says team collaboration, the level 2, project 2. And the again title says effective Toastmasters mentoring. The objectives, I would say the description of the speech should be, this project introduces the value of mentorship and the Toastmasters view of mentors and prodigies. All the very best to my target speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Toastmaster Arumugam, Coach Toastmaster Arumugam.
I'm audible?
Yes.
Kesav Banerjee, Shankal Bhattacharya, Rajkumar Sharma, Lakshmipati Balaji, K. Balachandra. How many of these names and what? Why? Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Coach or mentor is playing a major critical role in everybody's life. Yes, the name I mentioned, the introduction, these mentors has given top successful person in India. Kesav Banerjee, first coach in our captain cool, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And Bhattacharya is the second coach. See, these mentors and coach has given one of the best captain in India. And Rajkumar Sharma has given a second captain, is a coach of Virat Kohli. And Balachandra, our superstar mentor. And currently, last month, our superstar, Salat superstar, Nattu Nadarajan, is produced by Lakshmipati Balaji. These are the mentors is required to, we all know only for successful mentors or coach, but everybody's life, mentor, coaches are there every stage of life. In my life, at the age of almost 7, one mentor, like coach, Mr. Dina Dayalan, he said only one word, Aru, you have to study well, work hard. This word still hitting my head last 45 years. And even I'm studying in a higher school, there is a one mentor or coach, like our maths teacher. And higher secondary, my English teacher. My college, one professor, organic chemistry professor. These are the persons as playing a role of mentor, teacher, or professor. When I entered the first job, my first hour, my supervisor came and introduction about role and responsibility. That is playing a coach as a mentor in my job. These are the mentor or coach coming lifelong. And this coach is a hidden factor of any successful person. But we will not in position to celebrate. But each and every guidance, even a one word, one line, will give you more confidence. Each and every teachers, professors, they are given a more confidence to us. Parents, we will not decide. Even friends, we will not decide. But mentor or coaches, we will not decide. It will be gifted by God. Same like in a Toastmaster journey. Last 3 years back, I joined in Toastmasters. Joined after first week, I have prepared my icebreaker speech. I was presented, and entire audiences appreciated. Based on that motivation, I was prepared second speech. It was presented in the same forum. But after completing my speech, Toastmaster mightily called, "Have you taken a concurrence from your mentor?" I said, "No, I don't know who's my mentor." Then suddenly my VP education came, said, "Your mentor, Toastmaster Balaganesa." Then third speech onwards, I have to prepare, I have to get a concurrence from my mentor. Even Toastmaster always, he said, the speech preparation last minute. Some speech, I will not get the concurrence from my mentor. And believe it me, last 20 speech I given, whichever speech I have taken a concurrence from my mentor, corrected from mentor, that speech, I got a best speaker award. That is called coach. That is called mentor. When mentor, if you're taking concurrence, mentor, that their experience has taught to us, and based on that, our result will become an extraordinary result. I have officially one mentor, Toastmaster Balaganesan. I have a Toastmaster journey. I have more than 4 or 5 mentor in unofficially. Even my evaluator, Toastmaster Boston also one of the mentor. When I have a doubt, I called him, I get the concurrence. The mentor is playing a major role, not only Toastmasters, in each and every assignment, each and every stage of life, that they will motivate you, guide you in a right direction, in a right path. Over to TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Armugam. We will now move on to our second speaker of the day, Toastmaster Nitya. I will request Evaluator Toastmaster Bindu to share the objectives of the speech.
Am I audible?
Yes.
My speaker is Toastmaster Nitya. And her pathway is presentation mastery. She's giving her speech level 2, project 2, effective body language. The speech objective is to use the body language intentionally and unintentionally. We all know that to become an indomitable leader during this pandemic times, it is very important to be a good communicator. And for that, effective body language is very much inevitable. So she is going to deliver a talk on effective body language. The title of the speech is A Memorable Adventure. My indomitable speaker, Nitya Kannan. Over to you, Nitya.
Really sorry to interrupt. Can you tell me the timing for the speech?
The Toastmaster Nitya, memorable adventure. A memorable adventure, Toastmaster Nitya.
Thank you, TMOD. I hope I'm clear and audible.
Yes.
My voice. Good evening, dear Toastmasters and wonderful guests. Snow-capped mountains, tall green trees, sparkling river gushing down the rocks, cool wind running through my hair, and me playing in the fresh snow of Manali and singing my favorite Bollywood song, Ye Ishq Hai Bete Bitai Jannat Dikhai. my family to the vacation to Manali in Himachal Pradesh. When we reached our hotel, Snow Point, our tour guide was waiting with the traditional greetings and hot tea and pakoras. I thought to myself, wow, what a beginning. Our tour guide informed us that next day we will be visiting Rohtang Pass, which is at a great height. And there we would be doing interesting activities like skiing, sledge ride, and yak photo shoot. I was very enthusiastic and made preparations the previous night. I charged my camera and I was very curious about this yak. I wanted to look my best, so I carried my makeup set also in my bag. Next day morning at 5 a.m., we set out Rohtang Pass in the car with our tour guide. After 1 hour, they stopped at a small outpost and there were some shops selling the skiing equipments and costumes for hire. Big shoes that start from the feet and end at the knees. Thick, snow-proof gloves that smell of rubber. A big overall suit to protect against the cold. And above all, the ski poles, which was so cumbersome to carry. After wearing the costumes and collecting the equipments, again we set out in the car to Rohtang Pass. When I reached Rohtang, I could not believe my eyes. The sheer beauty of the Himalaya mountains took my breath away. Our tour guide walked us up the sloping snow path. That was the point from where we were to begin our skiing. He helped us one by one to fasten the. Already I was shaking and slippery snow was making me lose my balance a little bit. Our tour guide informed us, I will give you a small demo of how to start skiing. He told me, look madam, right leg in the front, left behind. Left leg in the front, right ski back. Both legs skis push behind and go. The slope will do the rest, he told with a cheery smile. Oh, this is so simple, I thought to myself. My children were the first to start skiing. They had a very smooth experience. And then I saw the other tourists around me. They seemed to be doing quite fine. They were nailing it. Confidently, I moved forward. And as I moved forward, both my skis clashed against each other. And my ski slope got stuck in the snow. It was great. Momentum of the slope propelled me forward and I lost my balance and went flying in the air. I was thinking I will feel the fresh snow, but instead I could only feel cold air under my feet. After falling, I fell onto the ground with an ungracious thud. I heard a sound. Oh, ding, 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 ding. A big fat yak was standing in front of me, nodding its head. I was afraid and started shouting, help, help. Immediately, my tour guide came rushing to rescue me. But as he tried to lift me up, he was unable to do so. And I was unable to get up because of the ski costumes. Very casually, in a Hindi, he told his nearby other tourist guide, "Arey bhai, thoda haath do. Ye madam ka wajan itna bhari hai." In Hindi, it simply means, "Hey guys, please help me to lift up the fat lady." The other guy also came, and with their help, somehow got up and steadied myself. My beloved family came immediately to the action spot, and I could see and hear from the tourists around me. I unfastened the skis from my shoes to avoid any further mishaps to myself. Just then, I heard a voice calling out to me, "Oh, madam, come, come, sit on the yak, best photo shoot. We will give traditional Come. What happened to 200? I saw the yak, the bright shawl on its back, and the trinket bell on its neck. And then I saw the snow from where I had just fallen down. There was enough excitement for the day. I didn't want any further mishaps and accidents. I grabbed my camera and ran for my life. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Nitya. Extremely vibrant, and with the body language was very, very good. Very good. Our third and final speaker of the day, Toastmaster Jyoti Thomas. I will request Evaluator Toastmaster Sridhar to share the objectives of the speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anand. Today's third speaker, the indomitable Toastmaster Jyoti Thomas, is attempting her Level 2 Project 1 from the Persuasive Influence Pathways. The project title is Understanding Your Leadership Style. The purpose of this project is to identify your primary leadership style or styles. Her speech is titled The Ferris Wheel. I wish Toastmaster Jyoti all the very best. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Jyoti Thomas, The Ferris Wheel. The Ferris Wheel, Toastmaster Jyoti Thomas.
Tell me, have you ever been on a Ferris wheel? Have you? Have you? Have you? No? I'm so happy because I did try. The high and the low, the swing and the swish, with not butterflies in my tummy, but dinosaur peeping out through my ears. Well, interesting. The Ferris wheel. A life-churning, not turning experience. In the words of Bill Gates, it's fine to celebrate success, but it's important to learn from the failures. Toastmaster of the day, indomitable wordsmithians, and the wonderful guests here. Thank you for this opportunity. Is it an opportunity? For you, not for me. I stand here as a dartboard. Now, don't you ever try to say a lie. If you have courage, tell me, leadership style, huh? How many of you had this running in your head the minute you saw me here and had a couple of choicest words? You most certainly did. And if you say a lie, I hope nothing ever comes to you. Let's look at it this way. Quickly, can you all repeat a nice word after me? Will you? Please? Is it a yes? Yes, it's a yes. This word, the minute you say, it's a word that can quickly and easily erase all the difficulties that come your way. It will definitely give you the unlimited divine light. So go ahead and say, Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. Interesting. This word keeps many a people ticking and clicking. When you look at me, what comes to your mind? A bureaucrat? Authoritative. Innovative? Pace setter. Democratic? Avid. Coaching? Well, interesting. Life lessons. Pre-post pandemic. The lessons of life. Today's topic brought smile into my eyes, my belly, and my chest. As I was telling few of the people, I had this indomitable feeling. It took me back to the days when I first joined Toastmasters. Bingo! While I sat a month back or 3 weeks ago doing the quiz of the 48 questions that was posed before me to do for identifying what was my style, little did I realize. And I would say, I'm not worthy Toastmasters International. What a brilliant questionnaire it was. It made you think. It made you think. I was wondering. I learned to be a bureaucrat from my great-grandmother. How many of you have lived with your great-grandmother? Show of hands, please. Oh my goodness. How many of you have lived with your grandfather, grandmother, great-grandmother, grandfather's sisters, sisters' children, children's wives, and their children? Indomitable spirit. Do you know it's impossible to conquer the spirit of somebody who has the DNA of watching this little zoo-like environment? There was no psychometric test that could tell anything. Let me tell you, it is important. There are times when I quickly saw what altruistic meant. It brought me to this pandemic, a leadership of pandemic. 1980, the world stage had HIV, and we saw a leadership of compassion in Princess Diana. And what came to me was, I least expected to see altruistic, but indomitably, that's what came in front. I am today working purely on compassion, not with a dollar or penny coming in. How many of us have been able to identify the pandemic? I know nothing about the pandemic. All that I know is, as a Toastmaster, part of the TMI, I have the altruistic, indomitable spirit. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jyoti Thomas. We will now move to the table topic session, which will be conducted by Toastmaster Loganathan.
I'm audible now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmaster and guests. I'm Loganathan. I am going to be the table topic master for today. Table topics, nothing but it's improving our the momentary response skills and the thinking skills. The speaker is given a topic, and probably you should take about 1 or 2 minutes to respond back. So the green card will be shown at 1 minute, and yellow card will be at 1.5 minutes, and the red card will be at 2 minutes. So are we ready to start the session? So who are going to the first table topic picking up? Someone, please. Sorry, it's a Suresh. So is Miss Madam Sunita, are you interested?
No, sir. I'll try another time. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So anybody from guests? I'm yet to get any response. Just
Okay. I think is Vijay is available right now?
So Vijay has dropped off the call.
Yeah. Okay. So it's running out of time.
Yeah, Anuradha is a member. You can call Anuradha.
Yeah. Yes, madam.
Can I
Madam, this.
Yes.
Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah. Yes. No. I just wanted to. I'm not showing the video. I'm sorry. But
Yeah,
I'll get
that's
back.
okay. That's okay. Okay. So just the first one. So you woke up in the morning and see some changes in your body. Oh, you got a power of Spider-Man. What is your first task to accomplish and why?
Okay, so I wake up in the morning, which is practically, usually I get up only half an hour. I mean, I'm too heavy a sleeper. I love sleeping so much that I keep sleeping. And if I have the power of Spider-Man, I would climb to the 13th floor because my cousins stay on the 13th floor. So
Okay.
yeah, I would use that as my power.
Okay. Thanks, madam. Thank you. Anybody else? I think as nobody's actually, sorry. Yeah, it's, I think Anand sir. Anand sir, this question to you. So you agreed a special dinner with your children and ordered a delicious food, okay? And it got delivered at your home. Anyway, for your work aspect, you call it as a day, okay? Suddenly your mobile is ringing, that's your boss. He is asking for an urgent report, which takes at least an hour to complete. Your current project is also under escalation on timelines. So how do you convince your boss to spend time with your family?
Good evening. It's a very interesting topic, but I have a slightly different take on this. What I will do is, I know if I'm not good, my daughter and my wife both like ordering in very regularly. So I'm very sure that if I'm going to be telling my wife and my daughter that my boss has called me for a meeting, they'll be very happy because they can also eat my share of the food. So I think that that's an absolute no-brainer. My boss will be happy. At the same time, I'll get my job done. After my wife and daughter finish their dinner, I'll have a drink. I'll order dinner again. So I'll be killing two birds with one stone. So I think that's a perfect example for me to, what do you say, have my cake and eat it too. I'll keep my wife and daughter both happy because they've eaten my share of the food. I can have my drink also, which I cannot have if both of them are sitting in front of me. At the same time, I'm keeping my boss also happy. So life couldn't be better. I think this is a fantastic question, Loganathan. I really appreciate this question because it's an exactly perfect way for me to spend my Saturday evening. That's about it.
Thank you. Okay, I think is Samikta, you're interested?
Yeah, sir, but I will be keeping the time, so I can't participate. Toastmaster
Okay.
Bindu wants to give it a go.
Yeah, okay, Toastmaster Bindu. So this is for yours, okay? So you are traveling in a train to attend to your hometown from some festival, okay? There is a guy sitting next to you and he is an enemy in your school, okay? So how do you start engage in the ride? Because the ride may be another 3 hours.
Good evening, Toastmasters. To be frank, in my class, I don't have any enemy or friends as I was a very introvert and I've never faced the faces of the other classmates. So it will be my first-hand experience or first-hand appearance to him. So obviously he would be introducing himself as Bindu, do you know me? Then I would say, I didn't know. Who are you? You didn't know me? And he would be so amazed to hear that. And I would be having my cool, composed posture and keep smiling and hearing whatever that he says and nodding my head. And ultimately, I'll be sharing my views and my ideas about my school life, never to touch upon any of the other classmates in our class. and thereby continuing till 3 hours. And at the end, say bye-bye and get down from the train. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, thanks, Toastmaster Bindu. It was a fantastic response. Okay. Okay, anybody else interested? Okay, in that case, over to TMOD. Thank you.
I will now request the general evaluator to take over from here.
Sure. Before that, I'll request the Sergeant at Arms to start the polls for the voting.
Yes, I'll be launching the poll for the best speaker and the best TT speaker. The 11 out of 20 have voted. Just give it a minute. Okay, let's move on to the poll for best TT speaker. We had only 2 of them.
I'd like to announce at this point that there was a time disqualification in TT, so there'll only be 2 speakers in the poll.
Okay, thank you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. So let's start with the speech evaluations. The first speaker was Toastmaster Arumugam, and to evaluate him, let me call on Toastmaster Paul Bhaskaran.
Hi, once again, good evening to everybody. Am I audible first?
Very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. And a special good evening to my target speaker, Toastmaster Arumugam. It is said good speakers speak in their speeches, whereas great and indomitable speakers live in their speeches. Today, my speaker, Toastmaster Arumugam, lived in his speech throughout by bringing the real life stories. Not only that, to give away one valid, powerful message, I would say, which is a coach is a hidden factor of any successful personality. Having shared that, what I loved most from his speech are, at very first, he mentioned prominent personalities such as Kesav Banerjee, K. Balachandran et al. And they were the coaches for MS Dhoni and superstar Rajinikanth respectively. My dear friends, you will all agree with me that that captivated our attention. Is that not? And enthused me to listen to further. That is what the speaker's magic formula behind in it. Number 2, he provided wonderful supporting points to justify what are the coach's responsibilities and roles, and how a coach is a lifelong mentor, and asserted that parents will not decide, teachers will not decide one's life, but a coach can elevate one's life. Wonderful. Superb, simply. And not only that, to become a personality, the coach's ultimate objective is to make others a successful personality. All right. Here, thirdly, any speech, if you bring in your personal life, there is a good connectivity. And my speaker narrated his mentors, coached him, be it maths teacher, English teacher, Toastmasters like Balaganism, and even mentioned Paul Bhaskaran. Thank you very much. That was wonderfully connected. Having shared the positive ones, how can this speech can be made an extraordinary? Although he had a strong voice, the hand clasping was very visible. Hand clasping. He could have left his hands alongside and spoken at ease. Number 2, the speech time is 5 to 7 minutes. He concluded his speech exactly at 5th minute, my dear friends. When such a wonderful topic is spoken, I would have loved to listen to him more. Please, Arumugam, please make a note of it. Overall, Toastmaster Arumugam, by virtue of wonderful experience with the Toastmasters, I saw the indomitability in you. Just apply my recommendations, whatever I have said, you are the extraordinary person. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Next speaker was Nitya, and to evaluate her, let me call on Toastmaster Bindu to give her evaluation.
Am I audible? Good evening, Toastmasters. My speaker, Nitya, is indeed an excellent speaker. And she had proved in the following ways. She excelled at communicating with her spoken words. Along with that, she had integrated with her physical gestures. We could literally see from her gestures what was happening in Manali to her, though she was speaking at the same time also. And her speech was full of vocal variety. Like when she was telling that, she was skiing and she was giving that expression, we could see ourselves skiing on the snow. And when she was giving that facial expression of that stingy shoes, we would ever remember that rather than the words that she expressed for that. Third thing, she fully engaged the audience. She had taken the whole audience into the place of Manali. Sitting here, we could see Manali through her eyes, through her words, and through her gestures. She was completely at ease with the audience. She could keep that interest till the end of it. And in fact, I loved the way that she said, like in Hindi, she was telling what the tour guide was telling, and pertaining to the circumstances, she translated to English, because sitting here, she might be thinking that we all need to know about what that tour guide was saying. So it was telling it was difficult to carry this fat lady. So she was literally expressing also that thing. And she was telling that also another thing I could understand was that the sky snatched against each other and she went flying in the air. And I mean, she was doing it in a very fantastic manner. She being an indomitable speaker, I would like to recommend few things so that she can become a better speaker next time. And one is that she, instead of keeping on moving, she could have done that movement quite not that fastly, but a little bit, here and there. She could have made some pauses also. And third thing, the expression sometimes was, it was not corroborative. Sometimes it was as if it is spilled over. So she could have limited that. Plus, she could have channelized her energy in keeping her movement subtle, but very dominant. All the best to my indomitable speaker for the next speech. Thank you. Over to you, TMOD.
Sure. Next speaker was Toastmaster Jyoti Thomas, and to evaluate her, let me call on Shreya to give the evaluation.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Jyoti, what an indomitable performance indeed. I enjoyed the unique way in which you started your speech with a question that elicited fun responses from the audience about the Ferris wheel. You involved the audience a lot more during the flow of your speech, which I think held their attention a lot longer than if it had been a one-way monologue. For your evaluation, I decided to adopt the sandwich technique. But I think for your sandwich, the top bread will be a lot larger than the filling in between. That's because you excelled at so many things. Vocal variety, usage of props, voice modulation, gestures, body language, usage of the word of the day multiple times in relevant contexts, and usage of the space that you had. I admit it's tough to do this successfully on a virtual platform, but you did that so seamlessly with no trouble at all. And all of these are simply the technical aspects. Coming to the other aspects of your speech, I also felt that your choice of wordplay enhanced your speech to the next level, and the humor and quotable quotes were placed in just the right places. Coming to the purpose of your speech next, you nailed it. We got to learn about your altruistic and compassionate leadership styles. We got to learn about how you feel about Ferris wheels too. Now, coming to one teeny tiny recommendation, I felt if you had given perhaps a few more examples from your own life and shared with us anecdotes that might have helped us discern your leadership style during the narration of the story, it might have reinforced the speech objective by placing more emphasis on it. But other than that, I think this was a wonderfully rendered speech. To summarize, it was an indomitable speech that blended beautiful wordplay along with elegant voice modulation, usage of interesting props, gestures that captured the attention of the listeners, and of course, humor. That's it from me. All the very best to you and look forward to hearing many more speeches from you. I hope that I could do justice to your speech with my evaluation. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Shreya. Okay, now with the speech evaluations done, it's time for the supplementary evaluators to give their feedback. And to start with, let's have the timer, Samyukta, give the timer report. Samyukta.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. If you could just give me a second. Right. For today's timers report, the objective was pretty simple. It was just to make sure that all speakers were in the zone of qualification. That being said, unfortunately, we did have one disqualification in TT with respect to time. But otherwise, all other speakers have qualified for voting and polls. Now, as far as the timings that all the speakers have taken for today, in the prepared speeches segment, Toastmaster Arumugam took 5 minutes and 1 second to finish his speech. There's a close call there. Toastmaster Nitya took 5 minutes and 32 seconds to finish her speech. And Toastmaster Jyoti took 6 minutes, 10 seconds to finish her speech. As far as the table topic speeches are concerned, Toastmaster Anuradha took 39 seconds. Toastmaster Anand took 1 minute and 12 seconds. And Toastmaster Bindu took 1 minute and 13 seconds. As far as the evaluation segment is concerned, Evaluator number 1, Toastmaster Paul, took 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Toastmaster Bindu took 3 minutes and 8 seconds. And the final evaluator, Toastmaster Shreya, took 2 minutes and 36 seconds. That's all from me. Back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. The next role player is the R counter, and may I call on Toastmaster Roshni to give the R counter report, please.
Hello, sir. Good evening to everyone. So my counter report right now. So Toastmaster Samyukta has used 2 hours, and Toastmaster Paul Bhaskaran has used 1 hour, and Toastmaster Anand has used 2 hours, and Toastmaster Arun Sridhar has used 3 hours. And in the prepared speech section, kudos to you all. There are no filler words or everyone is flawless. Kudos to everyone. And in TT's table topics, Toastmaster Loganathan has used 4+ hours, and guest Anuradha has used 1 hour. And in the evaluation segment, Bindu has used 1 hour and filler words like that. I request everyone before you're starting to speak, many people used to say ha. So please be conscious when you're going to speak at the beginning so that you could avoid this kind of hours and filler words, and it will improve you from being a better speaker to your best speaker. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Roshni. Now, to give the word master and grammarian report, let me call on Toastmaster Sai.
Good evening once again, my dear fellow Toastmasters, and thank you so much, General Evaluator Toastmaster Arun. In my report, I'm going to share it under 3 headings. One is the usage of the word of the day and the theme of the day. The second one will be effective usage of words, phrases, terminologies, so on and so forth. And the third one will be on the areas of improvement. When I mentioned about the areas of improvement, I won't be pointing out as to who didn't use properly. It will be a generic remark which I'll be making. First and foremost, I am feeling indomitable. Thank you so much, all the Toastmasters, for using the word of the day and theme of the day as much as possible. That's the whole idea of we doing it. So let me quickly share my report. Let me begin with Toastmaster Shreya. Shreya used word of the day 3 times. Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Anand Varghese used word of the day twice. And joke master and evaluator Paul Bhaskaran used word of the day 3 times and theme of the day once. And the speaker Toastmaster Jyoti Thomas used word of the day 5 times. Toastmaster Bindu, who was an evaluator, used word of the day for 4 times. With regard to the theme of the day, Toastmaster Paul Bhaskaran used it once, and that's about it. With regard to the good usages of phrases, terminologies, and words, Toastmaster Shreya used the words like elicited, seamlessly, and she also used some words like teeny tiny. It's more of a descriptive word, quotable quotes, discern. Toastmaster Samyukta used words, it was a phrase better late than never, and used the terminology multifaceted personality. Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Anand Varghese, used words like imbibe, stay afloat, agile, learning, unlearning, terminologies like artificial intelligence, data scientists, data mining, low-key, lead from the heart, VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, no-brainer, and use phrases like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, having the cake and eat it too. Toastmaster Paul Bhaskaran, who was a joke master and evaluator, used words like captivated, enthused, magic formula, hands clasping. And Toastmaster Armugam, who was a speaker, used the word concurrence. Toastmaster Nitya used the word gushing down, picture perfect, and nailing it to make it descriptive. Toastmaster Jyoti Thomas used words like swish, Ferris wheel. Many of us may not be aware about that word, and altruistic. With regard to the areas of improvement, I am making it as a generic remark. Very, very senior can be avoided. We can say he's a senior person. With regard to the pronunciation of the person who is mentored, it is called as protégé. So that pronunciation we can note. When it comes to usage of singular and plural, in certain speeches we had mentors and coach, it should be coaches. So there was one mentor was an usage. They are given more confidence. It has to be they have given us more confidence. Instead of they have given us more confidence is an effective usage. And another usage is this is for yours was mentioned. This is yours. Fastly is not effective usage. We can use the word rapidly instead. One of the other construction of sentences was mostly I know about this thing through this methodology. You can say I came to know about this through this methodology. So overall, I really enjoyed it. Improved my learning skills and grammar skills. Honestly speaking, I'm weak in grammar. That's why I took up this role today. Over to you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Arun.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sai, for that comprehensive report. Now, before I give my General Evaluator comments, may I ask the Sergeant to launch the polls, please?
Yes, thank you, General Evaluator. Okay, let's go with best tag team player as well. All right, thank you, General Evaluator. Over to you.
Thanks, Shreya. So now on to for my general evaluator report. I think this is going to be one of our shortest and sweetest meetings because of the fact that most of us kept to our times and there are no interruptions, and the fact that table topic session was a bit smaller than usual. This is going to be one of our small, duration less meeting, right? So. In terms of feedback, I think we started on time. Toastmaster, the sergeant did a good job of setting the tone and handed over to the Toastmaster of the day. I would have expected more people to switch on their video. That's one feedback we constantly keep hearing, and I think I could also do better. But at least for today, I think I kept my video open, and I request all of the fellow members to keep the video open as much as possible. I know there are constraints. Toastmaster of the day set the ball rolling really well, kept it to an effective introduction of the theme, but without going on and on. So that was really good. He kept the ball rolling throughout the meeting. So well done, Anand, on that. Most people were muted. So in terms of mute discipline, this was good. Some people, sometimes there were some disturbances, but we are getting better. I've been to meetings, other Toastmaster Club meetings, where everybody is muted. I hope we don't have to get to that place, right? Like a contest or something like that. So this kind of the discipline that we are showing is really good, and we should keep on doing that. And the speeches, onto the speeches, they were very well prepared and presented as always. And today it was nice that we had a guest speaker come in. So there was one instance where timer, I think, there was a clarification from the timer. I think that could have been avoided, obviously, but I think the reason for that is because you're putting too much pressure on yourself before the meeting. Samyukta and Shreya and the organizers. So what I would suggest is that, being on the other side of the fence before the meeting, you could probably delegate more to the Toastmaster of the day and the general evaluator. That's difficult in the beginning because some of us are new, some of us are old, but to fill up new roles, open roles and things like that, try and delegate as much to the TMOD if it's a speaker role, and to the G if it's an evaluator role. Have them coach new people. So delegate as much as possible. Two things happen. One, you take pressure away from yourself, and two, you're also preparing the next generation to kind of pick up the roles once they come up, right? So try and delegate more is the feedback, right? I think Anand did good there. He did not interrupt the flow of the meeting, which is, from a speaker's point of view, is the best thing. Thankfully, Nitya's speech was not interrupted. The flow was not interrupted. But I think the timer caught on, and we were able to time Nitya's speech well. So that was very, very well done. Table topic master, I think it was a short session. It was sweet, but you have the right, Toastmaster Loganathan, to call on anyone you want. So as a table topic master, that's a right that is given to you. I think you should use that right. So you don't have to wait for volunteers. You'll never get enough volunteers for table topics. So please do call on table topic speakers. I think they'd be happy in the end. After they speak, they'd be happy that they've spoken, right? So overall, good meeting. Good discipline. Zoom meetings, people are all telling me that it's getting exhausting, but if we had short and sweet meetings like this, I think it would be good. So back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Arun Sridhar. Now, this is my first, like I've told all of you all before, this is my first role as a TMOD, and personally, I'm having a good time. I think it also talks about, if I look at all the members of our club, we have people. I was talking to Samyukta saying she's less than half my age, but the kind of seeing the kind of energy and the kind of enthusiasm that many of you all have. I'm feeling a lot younger, and I think I'm learning a lot. I was talking to, in fact, let me also tell you, I've got a fantastic mentor in Sai who's giving me a lot of good advice in terms of how I need to go about things. And I'm sure if I talk about myself, I'm going to be gaining a hell of a lot from Wordsmiths, and I hope I've done a reasonably decent job as a TMOD. Lots of learnings for me, and like I said, looking at, let me start by even Paul Bhaskaran's joke of the day. I think that it set a fantastic tone. I think his experience in being a 9-10-year-old Toastmaster clearly came across, and everything is so spontaneous. Like I said, in terms of, I think the table topics could have been a little longer in terms of, I think we could have had more participation. Like I said, somebody told me about 2-3 classes ago, whenever you get an opportunity, it's an opportunity to always learn. That's something I learned from my mentor, Toastmaster Sai. Every time you talk, it's an opportunity to show leadership. And I think for all of us, that's something that we've got to make the most of. Like I said, make the most of now, which is my philosophy in life as well. So I think overall, I think it's been a short and sweet meeting. I think sometimes if it's going to be 2 hours, it kind of tends to get a little, I would say, it starts dragging towards the end. I would say it's been good. And now I will hand over the proceedings to our presiding officer for the evening. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Anand. You were indomitable in your performance as Toastmaster of the day today. I just realized I didn't open my account for the word of the day today. So yeah, there it goes. Grammarian, please take note. Right. Shreya, can we have the poll for best role player, please? Right. Now that that is done, I have the pleasure of announcing the winners of the meeting 610 today. The winner for the best tag team player goes to the most indomitable Toastmaster Sai. You did a fantastic job as Grammarian today, and it was thoroughly well deserved. Congratulations. The winner for the best TD speaker goes to the one who makes the most of his present, Toastmaster Anand. It was a great speech, very well done. I hope you get to have your dream Sunday right after this meeting. The winner for the best, if you could just give me a second. Yes, the winner for the best evaluator was, of course, our multitasking Sergeant at Arms, Zoom Master, and evaluator today, Toastmaster Shreya. Congratulations. The best prepared speech for today came from the altruistic leader of Chennai Wordsmiths, Toastmaster Jyoti. Very well deserved. Congratulations. And as far as the best role player is concerned, the winner for best role player is, of course, he's been keeping tabs on today's meeting, not just for the past hour, but for the past few days, to be honest. And everyone who's in the meeting group would have made note of it. So yes, the best role player for today is the very hands-on general evaluator, Toastmaster Arun Sridhar. Congratulations. Congratulations to all the participants and the meeting winners of today's meeting. Right. Of course, as speakers move on with evaluations, the meeting moves on with feedback. And I would like to ask the guests for your feedback on today's meeting. Can we hear it from Lukman Nazir Basha? Can we hear it from Neeta?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this wonderful meeting. This definitely was a learning experience for me, and it was sort of an eye-opener on, because I did not, although I'd heard of Toastmasters, I wasn't sure how, things would proceed, and I'm really interested to see what next. So, and to be part of the Wordsmiths team as well. So, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Can I hear feedback from Sunita?
Yeah, good evening all again. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, today I'm very happy to meet so many indomitable speakers, and and I'm really looking forward to join as a member in the Toastmasters. And it is very well organized, and I didn't expect this much. This will be very organized like this. I'm very impressed, and I'm looking forward. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Sunita. Can I hear it from Partha Sarathi?
Yes, good evening to all of you. So it is a very wonderful meeting. Actually, this is the first time I am seeing that in the Zoom meeting. Just a few years back, I admitted to Anand Club, but I could not join because of my preoccupation with my job. So I think it's very better to actually attend this meeting, since it improves the communication skill to a most extent. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Partha Sarathi. It was great to have you here this evening.
Okay.
Can I hear it from Lakshmi Narayanan?
Okay, firstly, apologies. I think I need to rename myself. It's Vijay Nair.
Okay, hi. You were out for a while, I see.
I was in and out. I had a bit of a issue with my connectivity. So, so my feedback is from what I heard and what I sat through. Learning by doing, I think, is the best way to learn, and that definitely looks to be the platform that Toastmasters is providing. It's a very participatory program. I was quickly doing some mathematics, and I saw that almost 50% of the 30 odd that are on the session are actually evaluating, giving feedback, or doing a session. So I mean, I'm looking forward to continuing with Toastmasters. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
That's it from me.
Thank you very much, Vijay, for choosing to spend your Saturday evening with us. Thank you to all the guests who took part in the meeting today, who were all very nice in your feedback and were very enthusiastic with your introductions and all of that. For those of you guests who might not know, I happen to be the presiding officer this evening only because the actual president and the vice president are not available. But I happen to be the vice president membership. And for those of you who need your hand held through the membership process and any questions relating to the club, the guests already have my number. We've already been in touch. Anytime you've got any questions, you can always feel free to get back to me on WhatsApp. Right. And club announcements and closing remarks. As far as club announcements are concerned, I would like to take a second to acknowledge the Toastmaster of the month for January 2021, Toastmaster Bindu. For those of you who might not know, she had, if you could just give me a second, I could just tell you. Right. Yes. For those of you who might not know, Bindu had attended 75% of the meetings in January. She gave a speech. She participated twice in TT. She participated as a tag player twice. She has also been part of the new segments, which were the meeting of the week, the joke master, and the TMI facts. She has also won as a meeting participant as well, and also gave a speech right after January ended. Of course, that would be taken count of in February. So yes, congratulations on your very active participation in the club meetings. And thank you very much for taking part in all the meetings very enthusiastically. I'd like to also encourage all of the other members to take up roles often and to make our job a little easier. And just take up roles quite often. Every role that you take is a learning opportunity. And also, I'd like to remind you all that the Toastmaster of the Month points tracking for February had started, and the one Toastmaster with the highest points at the end of the term, at the end of Team Jarvis's term, wins a cash prize. So please keep that in mind and participate regularly as well. Club announcements. The club level ISC and TT contest happened, and we have had the first runners up and the winners, who will be going forward to the area level on February 27th. The meeting ID and passcode for the meeting will be shared with our Wordsmiths group when we get it very soon. And I would like to ask all of you to please attend the meeting and support the Wordsmiths who are going forward and participating at the higher level. It will be of great moral support for them who are putting themselves out there amongst people from other clubs. That is all from me. It was a great show, a very indomitable performance from everyone in the meeting today. Thank you very much. With that, I would like to close the meeting 610 and adjourn the meeting to February 20th. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. The floor is now open for networking. Share, you can stop the recording.